Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of The Rect Show. With today, we are going to discuss the recent movements of Bitcoin as we had the live stream on Monday. I'm also going to discuss a little bit of the equity markets, and I'm going to discuss Ethereum. But first of all, I'd like to discuss what Bitcoin is doing right now, and just see the approach for me on this one, as I've been sharing earlier, that I'm still remaining to be bearish, and there's a few scenarios that I'm watching. First of all, I remain bearish given that the Bitcoin is still moving alongside with the equity markets. There's still a high beta going on and positive correlation between the two, so I don't see any reason to become bullish on Bitcoin in the long term, as I'm bearish on equities until the correlation flips. The only thing that's doing really wonderful lately has been gold. That's showing some serious strength, and however, it's retracing a little today as well, but it's made a new high, which is a good sign. But I'd prefer to see the same with Bitcoin, which I doubt at this point. But the structure we are seeing on Bitcoin currently is that we've established the top around $7,400, and since then we are just ranging south. Bounced from 68 to 72, made a nice trap during the weekend. After that, we held on to the 66 support level, rejected at 69.5, which flipped the level as well as resistance. And after that, we're just moving sideways, tripping a little bit, and just making lower lows, lower highs. So at this point, it's short-term bearish. So the main scenario for me would be that we're just going to see a similar move towards 68, 68.20, and then just go down in the days after towards 63.5, which is around the monthly level, which I presume to be a significant level to hold on to. The question is that whether we can have a green day tomorrow with the jobless claims coming out. I doubt we will, as I don't think that there is any bullishness to be watching at this point from any of these markets. People are still underestimating the economic impact of the coronavirus. People are actually underestimating the impact of the coronavirus on the long term. There's still too many people believing that this thing is over in a few weeks from now. While, for instance, in South Korea, people get it for the second time and they don't know why. So the main structure is still that I'm expecting to see that we are holding the 66 level for now. Might be having some slight rally upwards to 68, 68.5. And then the moment we lose 66, I assume we're going to see the monthly level. The second scenario, and that's the first area, this whole area here is the first area that I'm watching for potential longs. The second scenario is that we're holding the 66 level, as it's a pretty significant level as well. If we make such a move and bounce back up, I'm also going to close my shorts and look for longs. But then we get towards the longer perspective scenario that I'll be discussing in a little bit. But we have to see how the price is reacting here, and we have to clearly break the downtrend at this point. Probably test the low around here before we can actually bounce back up. But if we test the low, take liquidity and come back up, I assume we just hit the temporary low, and then I'm going to look for longs. But if we clearly break below 66, I assume we're going to see the area over here, which is confluent with the area around 290 on ChainLink, and which is confluent with Ethereum around 146, maybe the low around 151. I don't know why I've painted it green over here, because it's not the area that I'll be watching. It's this zone over here that I'll be watching for potential longs. And then we can just get a move like this and then come down. But Bitcoin, the longer perspective that I'm watching here is that we've closed below the 100 week MA on the weekly. 100 MA on the weekly. Yes, that's what I said. And it looks like it's just tipping over, as you can see. there's many of these examples in which the price tips over, as you can see. The only thing that I'm in doubt right now on a longer perspective is that there's an halving coming up, which makes me believe that we could see a short-term slight rally on the price of Bitcoin. So I want to discuss the few scenarios I have with the price of Bitcoin at this point. One of them is that we just make a rally like this, bounce at like 6.4, maybe 6.6, make another rally up towards 7.8 for pre-halving, and then nuke after the halving. With a bearish divergence and clear rising wedge structure over here, which is quite similar to this area, which is quite similar to all the retracements we have seen over here. The second scenario is that I'm just seeing that we just already flipped over. Might be seeing a slight rally towards 6.9, 6.9.5 if we hold 6.4 and then start to roll south. The bullish scenario in which we flip the whole red zone over here seems less likely for me in the current market sentiment, as we've just been closing below the 100 weekly MA and have to retest some lower levels in which I've marked these green zones and support. However, if we break it, flip 6.972, I assume we are bullish, and then I'll be looking for decent longs to target probably the sky over here. But I guess we're going to see some more consolidation before we can actually start grinding upwards. The point, I don't know which level, but I'm watching several scenarios. So that's the only thing I have, is that if we hold 6.4, 6.6, either of the two, depending on the coming days, we could see another rally to 7.8, as this level has not been tested yet. If we get that, then I'll be looking for shorts back again in the range over here, especially if it's going to be pre-halving, as I think we're going to see a buy the rumor, sell the news concept. As if you go back in time, you saw that there was a massive rally pre-halving here in 2016 and afterwards a crash. If you go towards the Litecoin halving, it's seen a pretty substantial rally as well and crashed after. Okay, nice chart. Over here it has seen a pretty nice rally as well. If you watch Bitcoin Cash, it made it even pump on the day itself and then crashed south. So there's a few scenarios that I'll be watching, and I'm just not deleting 7.8 at this point yet. If we get to 6.4 and make some temporary bullish divergence, or at 6.6, I'm just going to close my shorts and look for new entries quite soon. I'm not going to increase my exposure to crypto at this point, as I still believe we have to test lower levels for support before we can continue. I'm talking way too long at this point already. Then ChainLink, I've traded only one trade on this one. I missed the short opportunities. I wanted to short here, but oh, whatever. It broke down the rising wedge, which states that there's probably an end of the bullish run at this point. It's making lower highs. It flipped the previous level at 330 from support to resistance. Probably the same could occur if we do it with 325. If we check the larger time frames, then I'm especially watching the daily, then we can see that we've rejected at a pretty big level over here, and it just looks like it's falling over. So the levels that I'll be watching for any longs would be if we flip the red zone for support. Otherwise, I'll be going to watch for 290 and mainly the green zone over here based on lower time frames. If we make a pattern like this, then I assume with the lower high bounce, then I assume we are going to test the lower green zone for support in the end, which is pretty much the same structure as we have seen over here. But it's following Bitcoin, so the moment that this one is Bitcoin is bottoming out, this one will bottom out as well and just be outperforming Bitcoin. Ethereum is the same view. I've just discussed it. Looks a bit weird. Might be bottoming. The BTC pair is doing a little bit better, but I see a lower high here as well. Lower high, low, 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 low. If we get something like this and Bitcoin drops down, then I'll be watching the zone around 140 for nice entries, or a double bottom structure at 151 if Bitcoin, for instance, rejects at 66 back again. If we do that, then I could see a rally occur towards 180, 192 potentially, but at this point I'll be pretty much calm about altcoins. Alright, that's a short update. I'll be back tomorrow with a new one, and then I'll be discussing the stock markets as well, as that has seen the new jobless claims numbers. Thank you for watching.